The anticipation is killing me.
Well, I have now pressed record.
I had already pressed record. Past tense.
Ah, I see.
Greetings, ghost story liking people. Hello.
You've got a... What's up with your voice?
My fucking sinus cavity is haunted. That's what's going on. Ectoplasm, I think, is probably
You've been
some
slimed.
Some sort of plasm. I don't even know what it is, but
I won't ask what colour it is, but yeah, you sound like you're up to your eyeballs in mucus.
Yeah, literally, and it goes beyond. It goes into the forehead.
Oh no! Have you got the headaches?
Yeah, whatever. I'm okay. I think, yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, the color. I think it won the Pantone color of the year last year. Is the color stuff coming out of my head? It ain't pretty. But,
when I have one of those, what you've got, my go-to kind of description is it's like I'm living underwater, and people look at me and go, "Ooh," as if I know what you mean.
Yeah, I keep thinking there's something wrong with my headphones because I like you sound weird, but I know it ain't you. So
it's got nothing to do with me, Gov.
There will be some
episode 2.
Yes, this will be called the sniffling episode. I think is what this will be referred to. And if anybody can't handle somebody sniffling, just stop now. Skip to episode 3. Apologies. You know.
I don't know. You could. This is the thing that I found with COVID. I had COVID a record 3,000 times, and each time my voice became sexier. And I really enjoyed talking with it, like this crazy croak. And then it reminded me of that episode of Friends where Phoebe ends up with a flu, and she all of a sudden her singing becomes amazing.
Yeah.
And then the flu disappears, so she tries to get it again. And that's sort of me. I enjoy the way my new voice sounds because I'm sick of my voice.
Well, I've got all the mucus and none of the sexy, I think. So unfortunately, I just want a shot of this bad boy and get on with things. What's new?
Yeah, yours is all coming out your nose. What is new? Well, this is the podcast. We survived. The ghosts didn't come after us last week, so we can only assume that ghosts so far don't exist. I don't think that is the scientific experiment we were looking for.
No.
If you don't return next week, it means a ghost has had you, and therefore it proves the existence of ghosts.
Correct. I believe between last week and this week, probably several million people have died around the world. So maybe ghosts, all of them.
Oh,
every single one of them.
All dead ghosts. I enjoy when you watch a ghost film. I enjoy ones that I want to say ghost film. I mean ones that you can't, like apparition-y type ones. You can't explain things, and then you go into the kitchen, and then all the chairs have been fallen over or something. Well. Yeah. I have become strangely addicted, not because I think it's real, because I don't think it's real, but a series of what can only be described as amateur filmmaking.
Okay.
This thing called The Blackwell Ghost.
Yes.
Have you seen any of them?
I have. I've seen. I saw the. It was like an hour and a half long. I don't know if it was the first. It was just the guy this amateur filmmaker guy with his, and then they pick up the story, and then they go into the guy's house or something like that, where they move into the guy's house for a little while.
That's right. So perfect, right? Because so we're probably doing him a disservice. I realise that.
That's the snot. That's the snot not allowing my brain to remember something I watched about 3 weeks ago.
Because I said it as well. He's not an amateur filmmaker. He is more than that, but he decides to make a documentary which turns out to be an amateur filmmaker documentary sort of thing. Well, so we've been watching this, and there are 8, and over from when we started, it took us about a month, and we'd watched all of the lot, and even now the number 8 at the end of it says to be continued, and it's a really fab idea, but I think a lot of people on the internet have started to ask the question, I don't care what I'm watching now, because I'm now only trying to work out whether this is true or not, whether this guy believes this is true. And some of the things in there, you go, this is a perfect horror story. It really is. It really is a good ghost story.
Creepy basement, check. You know?
Yeah, like scene of murder. You know, there was a past murder here. So all of these little details, and they're the things that I really, I don't. Again, I don't believe. So I'm not looking at this. I'm just looking at this from storytelling point of view, and it's fab. And then, funnily enough, when we spoke this morning, you said to me, "I'm not sure whether we told people that we're going to tell a story each," and that was the setup that we always had with the other podcasts.
Yeah,
but
I think we just assumed that's what everybody does. That's how a podcast works. You just tell a story.
But of course, it doesn't need to do that. But I think we enjoy just looking at a story, researching what it's about, and then doing our own.
The other thing which carried over from the previous Florida Podmen podcast, and again, this is, I think I've realized how different it is that there are obviously, whether they're talking about shoes or ghosts or whatever it is, there are podcasts where two people trade stories.
Yeah.
We don't know what the other guy's going to talk about. We don't let each other know. We don't research each other's stories. We just go in. Chris is telling his story. This is the first time I'm going to hear it, and vice versa. So it's a bit unique, isn't it?
There's
I think we will wind up with episodes where we maybe just pick one and we tag team it, or it's just turns into a long story or something fascinating. We just keep going because I think we're always conscious of I don't want to do a 2-hour show. I just don't have the energy for that. I don't think people have the energy to listen to it.
Well, but it's funny you should say that as tag team, because I was thinking about there's this one case that I've been trying to kind of put into some sort of logical order. It's huge, and I was thinking it would be great if we could spend a bit of time just on this one, but that might mean a 2-man job. So that might happen.
Saves me searching for a story. Go for it. Laziness wins every time.
The story that I've decided to tell today, for 2 reasons. One, it's quite a decent timeline, and the other reason is I think it's one of those ones where it's saying, look, this is a perfect example with evidence of there being the existence of ghosts. And so I thought I'll see what Kev thinks about that. It's a large claim. Yeah.
Why don't you kick off? Why don't you kick off? I'm just gonna sit back and sniffle for a little bit.
Are you sure? Okay. Right. Okay, I wasn't prepared for that.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be a gentleman then. It's fine. I gotta tell it anyways. I'm just worried that my nose is gonna just start unleashing. Righty-ho. The scariest part of my story, I think, is the publication that it comes from. This is from the National Catholic Register.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I don't know which way to take that.
I will. There's a lot of backstory about the Reformation in England and all monks and stuff like that. It's building a bit of context. Skip that part. What the story is, this is a story about a filmmaker, and this guy is in England, part of a film crew, and they're filming in this house. It's like a big kind of manor house that was built, it says, in the ruins of a friary. So I don't think it's like over top of a graveyard. It's like there's one near my house in Tynemouth up on the northeast coast. It's a big it's a ruin, a big ruined castle priory thing with a graveyard around. There's plenty of land around it, so you could build a house within the grounds of.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's happened here. So this well-to-do couple, we'll say.
Did you give a date on this?
This is 2018 is when this story's from.
Oh, what, really? Right.
Yeah.
Quite
This is pretty recent. There is some modern technology involved, so this isn't. We're not talking about 1522 here. Well, actually, I mean, this talks about the Reformation. When was that? Like 1600s? Is that like Cromwell and all that nonsense? Is that my history's not great?
I don't know what that even is. It's just a word that you've said.
Right. We need to hire a researcher, I think. Basically, I mean, monks that lived at these friaries, they were beheaded during the Reformation, etc., etc. So
beheaded? It's a bit extreme. Just like take the sweets off them or something.
Actually, the term they use here.
Don't do that again.
The term they use here is pretty. This is a pretty posh way of saying beheaded. They were put to the sword.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like you've been shoved onto... There's a sword like just sticking out of the ground. You've just been pushed onto it. Okay, so this couple moved into the house. Not superstitious, don't believe in ghosts. The man, the husband, has never speculated on any, ghostly apparitions. Not a believer or anything like that.
Yeah.
So what happened one night is the couple, they get into a fight. And they decide they're going to, split up and spend the night in separate bedrooms. So the wife stays in the main bedroom, and the husband stays in one of the guest bedrooms. He never slept in it before. So in the middle of the night, as you do, noises. So this is a ghost podcast. Ghost noises.
Yeah.
So has to be. The roar of an attacking army, hammers and axes smashing walls, heavy chains being dragged across the stone floors, and then the cries of those subject to violence unimaginable.
They think. Because none of this is confirmed. Right, okay.
Yeah. So goes downstairs the next morning, talks to his wife who slept in the other room. She asks, how'd you sleep? He said, like shit, practically. Weird ghost noises. And I got a runny nose. They decide the next night, for whatever reason, this is Husband of the Year award, says to the wife, why don't you stay in that bedroom then tonight? So she goes and stays in that room by herself, and lo and behold, of course, she has the same experience, right? This is all kind of recounted by the husband to this guy that's telling the story, who is a filmmaker. He's part of the crew. They're basically filming I think it's just filming like some sort of like ITV drama kind of thing in this stadium. Yeah. The crew basically splits up to kind of check out, areas to film in this house.
Yeah.
And the guy telling the story here says he's shown into a room by the host, and just before, she says, okay, well, over to you guys, enjoy your filming. He asks, which room was all this chains and armies and stuff, and she said, the room that you're in right now. So the crew is staying in this house because there's 11 bedrooms. There's lots of them. Guy goes to bed, and middle of the night, nothing happens. Wakes up, and next morning, sunny, happy days. So they start filming the next morning, and they're filming late into the night. I guess filming behind schedule and things like that. In the scene that they're filming, one of the actresses, it's talking about, it's like motherhood or something like that. They're talking about having
the theme of the theme of the scene.
Yeah, the woman being filmed was she was telling about work she did. She was maybe a midwife or something like that.
Oh, right, okay.
One of the lines in it was, "Satan doesn't like the work we are doing," and as she said those words, right above them, footsteps. Kind of ghostly footsteps.
Well, what is a ghostly footstep? Like a slither?
Well, like thudding with nobody there. They know there's nobody above them. So our guy here is wearing headphones, similar to us. He thought there was something wrong with his headphones. He plays back the audio track, and he can hear it. Glances over at the producer, says, what's the noise? It kind of happens a few times. They hear these steps walking around above.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Ask it. Did they hear this during the scene or in post-production? Do you know what I mean?
They heard it live while they were actually filming.
They heard it live.
Yeah.
So it stops them.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It only happens when she talks about Satan, basically.
Yeah. So do we think the ghost is Satan at the moment? Is it an evil?
Well, I think where we get... I don't think so. I think it's maybe
a coincidence.
What do they call it? An incantation? It's just a word that summons...
Yeah, bang! You're
spooky people.
Do you know that bit in Labyrinth when she's saying the phrase? Yeah, so she's recanting the lore of whatever this goblin world is, and it's almost like the goblins are on the other side. The Jim Henson workshop is sort of going, say it, finish it, say the word, and she doesn't get to the end of the word, and then she says the word, and it's like, hey. That means the goblins come out. Do you think it's kind of like that? That it's like Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. You got to say it 3 times. Yeah.
But with Satan, because he's that bad, you only have to say his name Once.
Just the one. He's not got a lot going on. Saying, well, yeah, what's up? How can I help?
So you could just say it by accident. You could say his name by accident.
Yeah.
And he goes, better get me shoes on.
I think one of the most brilliant things, I think we maybe talked about this in Florida, man, is in the TV show Community, where they had that long-running, it took about 3 or 4 seasons, where in the first season, for instance, they're talking about whatever, they're having a Halloween contest. The guy says, oh, I might come dressed up as Beetlejuice. And like 2 seasons later, they make another offhand remark about Beetlejuice, and then another season later, they say Beetlejuice, and in the background, you see Beetlejuice walk by, because they've now said it 3 times. And
it's so the Community, the movie it's got to be out this year or next year, I suppose. We're getting close to it, so thanks for the reminder, because I love that show.
No problem. So what they'd said is that earlier in the day, they had heard some like floorboards creaking in right above them, where these footsteps are coming from. They went upstairs, and there actually was a member of the crew up earlier in the day. He was
it's probably him then.
However, they said that so when they actually started to hear these thudding footsteps, they kind of assumed it was the same thing. They said, no, the guy, everybody's accounted for. The guy that was upstairs, he's there. Everybody's that they know is supposed to be in the room, they can lay eyes on. So there's nobody missing. The producer, who basically just, as a producer does, wants to get on with filming, says, go upstairs, see what's making the noise. So our guy here takes off his headphones, glancing up the stone stairway. This is what we talked about last week with us in our little barn up in at Ollie's wedding. Glancing up the stone stairway. Went up the stairs and was listening for sounds. All he could hear was the voices downstairs, but then eventually those voices kind of dropped, so he couldn't hear them. He got to the room where these footsteps were supposed to be coming from.
Here we go.
Opened the door, and sure enough, it was just an open window blowing some stuff around the room.
So that's probably what the noise was then, is the window hitting the frame. Boof, boof.
Goes downstairs, and one of the crew members is actually in the middle, like this weird ancient prayer to, like, repel spirits, which is very, very strange.
When was that decided?
This is like when he goes upstairs, goes up to the bedroom, sees that the window's open, closes the window, goes back downstairs, and this crew member's like doing some weird prayer.
Imagine being the guy, like, what the fuck is happening here? What are you on your knees for?
So they continue on filming, and no other sounds happen. They kind of just wrap up the filming. So later on, weeks or months later, our guy here calls up the producer and asks how editing's coming on. And they're talking. He asked the producer if he remembers the footsteps and all of that stuff, and asks him, "Have you played back the video and checked it all out?" Producer says, "Not yet." So this guy goes and meets up with the producer to watch the video feedback. The soundtrack was intact, and the footsteps were on the tape, and even at times that they didn't hear it in person. There was extra footsteps recorded. To this day, they have no idea what it was.
Right. So they didn't know no visuals.
No visuals. Just
audios.
Footsteps, nothing there.
Oh, right.
And they've got audio of it.
And some sort of incantation that happens midway.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird story, I know.
Whereabouts was it again? Did you say?
I got England. That's all I got.
Oh, right. It's a big place.
Yeah, that's like Florida.
It's not that big, is it? In the scheme of things. Right. Okay. Well, what do we think then? Because I've got an explanation that it was the window just banging against the frame of the window.
I think so. I mean, I think they, it's like we've talked about this. You go in thinking something's haunted, and you hear the slightest noise, and the mind leaps to conclusions.
If you have been sown the seed, then your mind will make the seed bloom, right? That's my words.
What I don't get, and it doesn't really link the two, is the bit about the husband and wife hearing this army in the middle of the night. Now, it's not really referenced after that, and I tried to find more on this story, and I couldn't find anything else. So the supposition is like 500 years ago, this army attacked this friary and killed all the monks, and that's the noises that they're hearing. Yeah. But then it was picked up by an audio crew filming, and they cannot explain it because even though they closed the window, things got picked up on tape.
The monks, friaries, monasteries, those sorts of things seem to... They're like gateway ghosts, really, because the amount of times I've heard, just through research here, is that the apparition is that of a monk or a nun. It's somebody in a cloak, right? That seems to be the classic.
It's got a creepiness to it. I mean, I haven't met many monks. I've seen a couple here and there, but there's just something weird about a monk.
You've seen a couple of monks?
Yeah.
Where?
Cambodia. Not like British monks, but I've seen
hang on. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
I've seen some in Spain too. I saw some in Barcelona. Like so the Cambodian ones were like the orange robed monks, looking a little bit very Krishna-ish. But in Barcelona, I saw what I like. You know, if you're going to build an action figure of a monk, I saw the brown robe monks.
Yes, and it's the one where his hands go into his sleeves.
Yeah, and they got the rope belt. Yes.
Yeah. See, I quite like. I don't drink alcohol, but when it's Christmas, I do, and I have this one called Frangelico, and it's the bottle is in the shape of a nun's. Yeah. No, a monk's.
I've seen that.
Well, I guess it could. Yeah. So it's you can.
So I can get a little bottle of honey that's shaped like a little teddy bear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's those things. But this is, do you know? And we've said this. I guess we haven't mentioned it yet, but we really like horror, and we like the scariness. We like being. We don't kind of watch a horror movie and go, it's not real and poo. It's just the fact that here's a story and somebody's trying to tell a scary story, and I'm nice and suitably scared right now. We are still acknowledging that we get scared, and actually, what a scary. I think we should start introducing when was the last time you and I were scared? What scary stories have we got that happened personally?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and then I'll tell my story by the way. But when I was a kid, and let me put an age on it, I was probably about 14, maybe 14 or 15, and I was in this place. I was gone to see my mates for we used to. In the olden days, we used to go to their house on the Friday and then come home on the Sunday from school. And I was in a place called Orkley. What? No, it weren't Orkley. It were wherever it was. Blackstone. It were Blackstone. That's what it was called. And we were there, and we were kind of trying to scare each other a little bit. You know, like it was getting dark.
As you do. Yeah.
And yeah. So, but then somebody said, "This, you can see it. It's coming down the hill." And I was like, I can't fucking see anything. What are you talking about? And they were describing the monk style ghost. Oh. You could see it, and he's got his hood up, and he's coming down the hill, and that felt as irrational as it sounded. It still felt like I don't want to stick around to see if this is real or not. Yeah. So we all ran. Now I then later realised, or I guess it was revealed to me, that they were just trying to scare me. This was a pre-set up prank, right? Okay. But I still when I look back at that, I still quite enjoy that. But it's interesting how even back then we were talking about the classic ghost or apparition being a monk sort of figure.
I had one.
Here's something.
I had one. This is going back a few years. My wife and I, we were on a little road trip up in Scotland, and we were staying at a hostel. We hired a car, and there was, I think it might have been Eileen Donan Castle, which is like kind of a romantic
this is
kind of
part
castle.
Of my family.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like
you
right
there.
This is so. I don't know what the trace back to is, but we used to have a painting in our house, and it's gorgeous, kind of like the little bridge that goes out to it, a jetty sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a nice place, but no, our family ancestry goes to that castle for some reason.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So we well, this story might involve your great grandmother or something. You never know. So we'd been out for the day, during the day and taking photos of the castle and stuff like that. And then we went back to the hostel. And at night, we wanted to go out and get, that reflection of the castle in the water with the moonlit sky. Artsy fartsy. So we drove to a road on the other side of, I want to say lake. I can't remember if it's on the coast. It was across. You could see across the water. So there's a reflection. You can see the castle reflected in the water from where we were. And there was a couple of stone houses, like just 2 or 3 old stone houses. And what I remember, they had like almost like a construction fencing around them, like they were doing repairs, that sort of thing. Yeah. So we turned the car off, walked to the shore, and took the pictures. And as we were walking back to the car, we parked the car near these houses because, from what I remember, it's going back, there was kind of like construction, like floodlights outside this house to like shine on the construction site and things, just so we could see where the car was, because it's pitch black. There was no actual like street lights or anything like that. When we're walking back to the car, now, non-believer here, I swear I heard giggling.
Yeah.
Like child giggling. So we walk like kind of to the car and kind of past it, and on the side of one of the houses, so the front of the house is lit, the side of the house is in darkness a little bit. There's like a heap of just rubble, like plasterboard and wood and bricks and stuff like that. And I don't walk right up to it because A, don't want to get killed. B, like, it's just like, it was dark. I didn't want to trip on anything. I got maybe about 10 or 20 feet away. So you could make out, if there was a bag of cement, you'd be able to read the brand name. I was close enough, but not super close. And we just heard like 30 seconds prior, like this childish giggling. In this rubbish heap was a child's tricycle, all rusted. And one of the wheels was just going tick, 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 just slowly revolving. Truth. Nice. We hopped in that car and we drove like a motherfucker. So fast. There's a little kind of like the road that we're going back to the hostel. It was maybe a 10-minute drive. It was on the shore and it was just a gravel road. It was single track. I nearly drove off the road into the fucking lake. I was just trying to book it out of there. It was truly, I mean, again, the rational me was like, yeah, there was a bike because it was, it was just some rubbish there and it was windy. So there you go. I don't know about giggling.
Well, look, I don't know when I decided that I didn't believe, but when I was a kid, I definitely did believe. I thought it was like that's what you do. You live and then you die, and then so there's a reason why you're stuck on this other thing. Yeah. But looking back, those little things that your mind does, that's wonderful. And even now, I love hearing that story. That's a great story, especially when you said tick, 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 of the wheel moving. That's great. That's wonderful. The silence is deafening at times.
Yes.
Well, look, so I just to go back to the monk thing. For some reason, a monk is described in my story, but I don't know if there was ever a priory monastery. I don't know what the burial ground issue is here. It's not Stephen King's sort of Indian burial ground, that's for sure. But I don't know what it's taking over. But it could be, right? So I'll try and get this right. This is in a place where they're building a bypass in Yorkshire. So Stocksbridge is like a town.
Okay.
And rather than all this barrage of, it'll be people going from the right of England to the left of England, they would have to go through this little town, and so it would have been better for the town folk to have this bypass, right? That's the setup, right?
Okay.
And this, I guess this. I think I had a date on this. I need to put my light on now. Well, I think it was in the 60s, right? But I don't have an actual date.
1960s? Or one of those bypasses in the 1860s.
Yeah. So anyway, so there you go. So that's what we're dealing with. Setup. Okay. Whilst there is a lot of building works going on, they hire these companies, construction companies, hire like a night security team. If you've ever seen the the film or the stage play Ghost Stories by Andy Nyman and Jeremy Dyson. In there, the first anthology style story that they tell involves one of these night watchman type figures, right? And it's as scary probably as your mind wants to make it.
Oh, it's like my story last week in Edinburgh with the Watcher or Mr. Boots.
Yeah. I was just wondering, I did hear another there was a ghost I was going to talk about, and I decided not to, and his nickname was Mr. Nobody, which it's like that's just been invented to create the lore, I think.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you've got these on this one. I think there were a couple of guards. They're sort of sat in their yard, and over in the distance they can see. It's like late at night, but it's in the 60s, so it was okay to see kids playing.
Yeah,
with all
exactly.
like in the area, right? Because you could in the 60s, it was okay. Kids were safe to get like slaughtered at midnight, and but what was suspicious about this was that the guard swears he sees them in Victorian garb.
I was waiting for you to use the word garb because there's not many times you got to whip that bad boy out.
And that's it. I've used my quota for 2025. The security guard goes over. He's like, I can't have kids of any era messing around in this building site. Gets over there, gone. They've gone. And what's more is there's no evidence that they were ever there to begin with. No footprints, no bits and
no bike
out
going
of places. No bike ticking around. It sort of marries up with sightings that other people have had. Well, not just kids playing, but one person reported somebody hovering and moving. There was this great. I can't remember what film it is, but the image of it is quite clear. There's somebody in a graveyard and they're kind of looking around. I think they're playing a game. And as they look over to one side, they see a sort of cloaked thing at an angle, and it's floating really fast. But that's that hovering sort of effect. Some people have sworn they've seen headless.
I thought you were going to go with that Bob Mortimer joke where, you're walking through a graveyard and all of a sudden the figure pops up from behind a gravestone and you go, morning. And they go, no, I was having a shit.
That is good. I was remembering a Norm Macdonald gag where he says the.
I haven't heard your Norm Macdonald voice in years. So I'm looking forward.
No, what's this? Somebody hears this in the graveyard or whatever. Go and kill your family. And bring their remains to me. I'm Satan, the hoary lord of the netherworld. And so Bob sort of kills his family and brings his family in like bags. He goes, "Oh, I brought my as you have instructed. Oh, evil one." And then the devil sort of takes off his mask and goes, "It's me, Bob." And and Norm's just suddenly going, "Oh, Bob. You've got me there." That's one. That's one to you, Bob. Anyway, so right, the next day, then. So he's explaining this story to other people.
Creepy kids,
there, and they
garb, but no actual evidence when we go look for it. Yeah. Okay.
Person who's telling is going, hang on a minute. A few nights ago, I went over to see this fella because I thought he was nicking copper wiring. He was a copper thief.
I like how you use fella because you're still in Norm Macdonald speak there. Fella.
Yeah. So he goes over to him to stop him from stealing, and he vanishes, just gone. But the weird thing was, he was dressed like a monk man.
What?
Right. So they're kind of like going, right, hang on a minute. Now, that story there with the monk man, that resulted in the police being called out because they thought it was a criminal thing, and they all saw it. So they all just went, fuck this, I'm gone. What they did say, though, was... this is... the police say... this is not a police matter. This...
People disappear.
This sounds like more that you need to get an exorcist in. I love the police though saying, no, we're not dealing with this. This is our other team, the kind of paranormal police.
Get Mulder on the case.
Now I've got some more sort of stories where they go to these areas of this particular part of the bypass that's being built. There's a feeling of dread that it's freezing cold when it's nice and warm outside and stuff. But what they did was, so the guards and Chief Ellis, this is the police sort of person, and he brings over with him a guy called John Beat, and they're now going to be the paranormal sort of like, we're going to deal with this as far as we can push the explanation.
Ghost cops.
And where they're kind of like, so this is the police now. So remember, police, historically, the police are honest types of people, right? I guess most of them are honest, but they sworn to tell the truth. I don't know if that's the case, actually. Now I've said it out loud. Well, they're kind of like watching the area, and I was like, right, okay, so we've either got copper thief or it's a ghost. We want to make sure that we can rule out one of them. And so they're on a stakeout, the police, in their car. And what they do is they see... so the bridge, the sort of bypass is well into construction. So at the top of the road, they can see something kind of moving about up there, and they kind of, oh fuck, but they've got to go and do this. And they walk up to the thing, and they've got their kind of torches ready, and it's a tarpaulin. It's a tarpaulin, but they have sworn the next. Oh yeah, and also what I should say is some other guards. They've seen things. They've seen people with or without heads, with or without cloaks, and they've sort of come into their work like the next day. One says, whimpering candidly. Yeah, what? That's an interesting description, isn't it?
Yes.
They were whimpering.
I would never put those two words together. Hey, Chris.
So,
hey, Chris. Don't tell anybody. Just between you and me. That's how you whimper. Yeah. It's the only thing I could think of.
This is I think this is in the van. I can't quite remember where this was. It was either in the van or they're looking out of their little hut, whatever they've got. And so this is the last time that there was any report, I think, yeah. Well, that's part of this story, this build-up. It might have happened in the past, but anyway, so they're kind of like in this area, car or hut or whatever, and they're, as they're sort of like, I guess, getting a little bit sleepy and stuff, and they once again start sensing this feeling of dread.
Okay.
There is the chills happen, and they see, well, they're looking out and they don't see anything, and then bang, 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 up against the window. Bang, 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 bang.
Christ.
Look around, there's a fucking face there, right? Okay? And then, so like, as soon as I see it, face disappeared.
What?
He's gone, right? The face is gone. That, and in its, I don't know what this means, but in its place on the window was a V, the letter V in the window, as if somebody's drawn it on. Well, there we go. That's it. So there is no, like your story, there was no aha, it was this all along. Yeah. Other than the fact that at each point they've looked at something and they've gone, it didn't, whatever it was, didn't stick around long enough. The scariest part of this for me is the hovering element. Yes. I think I can probably cope with cloaked people and Victorian children, but I don't think I could cope with many hovering instances. And of course, all of this, it's not convinced me yet that there's anything that I can't probably say. It sounds more like it was this.
Yeah,
than it was a ghost.
There's a plausible, whatever that explanation is. There's plausible explanation.
Yeah, but we have said ghost. We've shouted ghost, like Chief Brody. He's saying shark,
yeah.
shark, and then when they look, it's just a school of fish. It's just do you remember that bit? It's just a. So that's what it was. So is this? I don't know. Is this George? Is this Bruce, or is it
Bruce the shark?
School of fish?
Weird story. I mean, there's a few different sources for it, and I think that's
that's it.
I keep seeing it. That's what I've been trying to find. Is I think, I've been down the Reddit hole a few times where just somebody's just telling a story about what happened to them. It's like, yeah, but really, it's like they could just be fanfic. They could be writing it, just making it up.
I suppose one thing about this one that made me go, was I guess that I can take security guards. I think, if they're too tired, maybe they will see something and their mind transfer. But I think it's the police part of this that makes me think, yeah, I think the police would be the first to go. That there's no such thing as ghosts.
Or not even say anything because they don't want their other buddies down at the station to make fun of them.
Yeah, and I think that's what one of those reports where there was candid whimpering. What they're saying there is that these big fellas who not whether they believe or not, but they're usually in the mood to deal with people who are in their yard late at night and they're on their own and they're used to this, and even they decided we're never going to do that job again, and that's okay. That's worth questioning.
I think this story has the ghost story bingo card. Like you'd win. We got the Victorian children. That's right. You've got it looked like a ghost, but it turned out to just be a tarp or like a sheet blowing in a tree. I don't know. I think is it too late to change the name of the podcast to Candid Whimpers?
That's the funny part about that sheet, because there's enough in that story to go but with that sheet you're going, well, could that not have just explained all of the things that you saw that you thought you'd seen? I don't know. Anyway, but what I'm as I say, I don't know. Well, I'm not an expert in this, but I've not heard anything just there that makes me go, well, it must be ghosts, because I don't think it must be at all.
No, I think there's enough. Hovering even. I mean, it could just be that tarp could have been blowing around in the breeze. It just, it's one of the things. If you want to believe, you're gonna believe. If you don't believe, you're gonna find reasons for it. But at the end of the day, fun story. That's what this is all about. We keep talking about this. We're not gonna change our minds.
That is, I think, the biggest issue we've got to try and overcome. If you're gonna believe, you're gonna believe.
Yeah.
Right. And that's. So once you filter out some of those instances, and you've got people who are like, we don't believe in ghosts, and this has made us question something. That's the camp I'm in. I want to be in that camp. So I don't believe, but I can't explain it any other way.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, it's a good story. It's like, I don't believe people can fly, but I've watched a Superman movie. You just have to suspend your disbelief. And sometimes it's just a good story.
Yeah. Superman, the documentary.
With Christopher Reeve. Yeah. Or as people say, Christopher Reeves. Oh, it drives me crazy. That's not his name.
Well, there we go. go.
So what we're saying then is we have not changed our minds yet.
Not quite. No. In fact, no. It's not even quite about it.
All right. We want to hear from you guys. Anybody has any stories? And, I don't want fan fiction. I don't want somebody just getting creative. What's happened to you? At Apparently Haunted on whichever social media isn't run by a Nazi. So watch this space.
Yeah, and if we get, I like the fact that if we start off a place, like a building or an area, just like the Stocksbridge bypass, is that we go, here, let's lump those stories into that case and start building the case books up.
Yeah.
Now that'd make my project folder that I bought for this podcast. Have you seen? I've just gone into darkness.
What's
going on there?
Ghosts.
I'm about. It's like I've just been talking, and in fact, everything's in the light apart from my head.
It's coming back now. Hang on. What's going on? Your light's changing on its own. You just got light again. Is it the sun? Is it through the window?
Well, the sun is there.
Did somebody walk past your window, and was it a face that turned into a V?
I'm upstairs.
Is there a V on your window? Quick turn around.
No, but there is a bit of tarpaulin that's floating around. It's probably that guy.
I think one of the things that I'm trying to do too is that I'm going to start. Look, I'm going to try to find as many stories close to us as possible physically, so that we can actually just go and do a road trip.
Well, that's what I was going to mention this at some point. Might as well mention it now. Is that there is one of the apparently most haunted places in England that is like a mile away from me. There's a movie been made about it, and in fact, I think the filmmaker still owns the property because they filmed there. And I think that, and you can stay there. I think it's like £100 a night or something, but you can do that. I think once we get some established recordings underway, and when we go on the road with this bad boy,
do it.
That should be one of those places that we check out.
Absolutely.
But other than that, my stories have dried up, so I will have to.
Unlike my sinuses.
The vase. Get some. What is it? Lemsip. Get some Lemsip, man.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna just pour that straight up my nose and flush the old sinus out. Thanks for putting up with me, people. Hopefully next week I'm back to normal, and the hauntings, the poltergeists are gone. The exorcism of my sinus cavity has been successful.
Okay, right then. Let's draw a line at that point, and we'll see. We'll hear. No, they'll hear us. In another time.
Sounds good. Sleep tight, everybody.
Good night.